Good morning. It is Friday, May 15th, 2026. I am continuing with the Monitors project of visiting all the parks in the city, from smallest to largest. I started at park number 162 last summer, and now, big day today, I have worked my way up through the entire list to park number 1 at 1,936.61 acres. It is the Frederick Rodney Paine Forest Preserve. And this is Beck's Road here. I-35 is up that way. Gary is down that way. And across the road and down a little bit is the number 2 park on the list, Magny Snively, which we visited last week. And so today, there's this Frederick Rodney Paine Forest Preserve is so big that there's any number of different places I could go here. But I thought I would take the most well-known route, but even so, not particularly well-known. Currently, Skyline Parkway ends at Beck's Road, just down the way a little bit. But historically, Skyline Parkway continued on west, and this what we're walking on here, this grade is former Skyline Parkway. And so what I'm going to do is follow this old road right across the forest preserve, and then it pops out on Highway 210 above Chambers Grove over by Jay Cook Park. So that will be the plan for today. Beautiful weather. It was 72 in the car when I got out. So the forecast said I might get into the 80s today, which is a little too hot for me. So I figured I better get out and take my walk before that happens. This up here is the bridge that crosses over the active rail line. All the rail lines coming into Duluth, historically, they all are around this area. Coming down that way, along the hillside. The current Munger Trail is actually up here a little bit. And then here's the current route the trains use. Oh. I sneeze when I look at bright sunlight. Frederick Rodney Paine was Duluth Park Superintendent from 1926 to 1937. And evidently, reading up on it, he's probably one of the most influential park directors that the city has had. Created a lot of parks all over east to west. But this area that we're walking into now, until 2012, didn't have a name. It was just a big, giant piece of green space. In 2012, the Duluth City Council designated the Frederick Rodney Paine Forest Preserve, gave it a name. So reading up on this section of Skyline, it opened in 1928, and it was known as Mission Creek Boulevard. You'll see further down, it follows Mission Creek for a ways. And according to what I read, it originally had 7 bridges on it, which mirrors the 7 bridges at the other end of Skyline on 7 Bridges Road. But these ones are much less known. So this was likely one of the bridges, or one of the locations of the bridge. I don't know if it's an original. It looks a little more modern than 1928. And then here is the Munger Trail, former rail corridor, now converted into a bike trail. So now we are kind of leaving behind the trappings of civilization and entering into the heart of the preserve. I was surprised to see so many vehicles in that lot. It's Friday during business hours. Most people are at work. But I guess a lot of people just want to take advantage of the weather, nice weather, and get out. This place is so big, it's entirely possible that I do this walk without seeing any of those people. From what I read, this section of Skyline, Beck's Road to Jay Cook Park, was actually not very popular. I would have thought it would be, but I don't know, 1928, this would have been considered very, quite far away from Duluth. It's far enough now, but back then, you'd have had to make a commitment to come drive on this section, I guess. Spend the day doing it or whatever. Anyway, I'm not sure when it closed, but it was a long time ago. Oh, blue jay? Is that a blue jay up on this branch there? I think so. I actually don't refer to this area as Frederick Rodney Paine Forest Preserve. It's always just Mission Creek to me, all this whole area. By far the wildest section of Duluth. If you're familiar with Jay Cook Park with the steep clay banks and crumbling into the river and collapsing all over the place, well, much of this preserve is like that. Very wild. I mean, just imagine, it's 1928 and you're putzing down this road in your vintage car. Far away from downtown Duluth. You know, probably an hour's drive from downtown Duluth back then, so you feel like you were really out here. Couldn't just hop on the freeway and take the Bex Road exit and get here in 15 minutes like you do now. Yeah, you can start to see, well, it's kind of obscured, but you can start to see we're entering the land of the steep clay banks here now. See, the grade is getting washed out some here. It's not going to last forever. My new hiking boots from Christmas are working swell. Well, quite a gorge here. You can see how they had to fill in all this just to keep the road on grade. Back 20-30 years ago, when I would buy new boots, the idea of breaking them in was always a big deal. I mean, you had to take a long time to break in your boots to your feet. Get a lot of blisters. You know, even like getting the boots wet and, you know, putting something in them and tying them, you know, doing a lot of things to break them in. But in more recent years, I don't feel like I've had to break in my boots. I buy them new when I go walking in them, and it's like they're already broken in, which is nice. Still can get blisters, but you can even get blisters in your broken in boots. So. And it looks like a mountain bike trail here. Quite a network of mountain bike trails in Frederick, Rodney, Paine Preserve, not surprisingly. Here's a historic bridge crossing Mission Creek. So this is, I assume, from 1928 when this section of skyline opened. And Mission Creek comes down from there, and it looks nice and wide here. But if you attempt to walk up there, like in the winter, you quickly discover that it's very brush choked up there and quite challenging. Walking downstream in the winter, though, it's kind of fun. You can go from here all the way down into Gary when it's frozen. So this bridge is likely 98 years old, built in 1928 or maybe a little earlier. This mountain bike trail cuts off here, Valley West. That's a nice one. I've walked on there twice in the dead of winter when the temp was in the teens and 0 area. And it was so nice, just like cold, clear. That trail goes way up into the, top of the bluffs. Very pleasant. But today we'll just continue following Old Skyline Parkway. For the past week, when I've gone out, I've found ramps in the woods, but so far today I haven't seen any. Could already be too late in the year. They're here and then they're gone. And here's another bridge. So we're basically parallel to Mission Creek right now. You can see the ferns coming up. Fiddlehead season is over. The ferns are too big to eat now. Quite a few here though. Good spot. Good spot to remember for fiddlehead time. Yeah, can't eat the ferns anymore. Sad. Ooh, what do we got here? Trillium? I don't know. No, that's not a trillium. I don't know what that is. I think earlier I said Mission Creek flows into Gary. It actually flows into Fond du Lac. I misspoke. What the heck? How does this even get out here? It's common, you're in the woods and you just find pieces of heavy junk. And there's no road. Well, this is a road, but this road hasn't been open for 80 years or whatever, so. And that piece of junk is more modern than 1928, so somehow somebody got that back in here. Climbing the bluffs a little bit here above the creek. You can see all the bank collapsing there. The road grade is mostly gone here. Probably, it looks like it is gone, and the trail just kind of skirts where it was. Coming up on another bridge. believe this is bridge number 4. Yeah, there's that clay topography, collapsing clay topography. This bridge is still functioning even though the grade is big old washout on this end of it. Half of it's gone over here. So that used to be bridge right there, that's gone. See that washed out. These bridges aren't as dramatic as the ones on 7 Bridges Road. But in many ways, they're more fun because they're just way out here and you got to do a little work to get here. And they're just sitting out here. No mosquitoes yet. Haven't even put bug dope on, although I did find a tick crawling on me the other day. Didn't stick in, thank goodness. Can't stand a tick bite. So I believe, yeah, this is, I can see this orange tag. This is a snowmobile route also in the winter. The Munger Trail, which we crossed way back at the beginning, that's a snowmobile route. So you could go from there, take this across to get to Highway 210 or Fond du Lac area. What we got here? Okay, well, this is actually a so remember this trail, they actually have it marked now, 1/4 mile creek bypass. We're gonna have to come back here. I'm gonna just go ahead and show you here. There's a washed out bridge up here. So in the winter, this is easy to cross. It's frozen, you just stroll across. But there used to be a bridge here. We'll call it Bridge 5. I think I can just cross this one on foot, but I believe there's another washed out one up ahead. We're gonna see here. And this one would have been Bridge 6. Okay, I think I can cross over there too. So when the creek is higher and you can't cross without getting wet, you have to walk back to where the other trail cut off, and it goes like up and around on the hillside there. But it looks to me like the water level is low enough I can just skip across. Wow, look at that, huh? Putzing along in my 1928 flivver through this kind of a landscape, feeling like you're far away from Duluth and civilization. That would have been fun. Alright, let's see if I can make it across here. Pick your spot and go. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I didn't even have to take the bypass. Save a little time there. And the bypass then comes right here. Oh, here's a partial bridge. One side of it remains. Oh, the side of it remains right here. So what? This gigantic hunk of bedrock was in the bridge? Or what is this? Cement? This is just heaved cement, I guess. Oh, this is a cool one. I believe this is the Superior Hiking Trail. Going up that way. So one time I hiked from Fond du Lac, the Fond du Lac trailhead. I think it took me over an hour to get to this spot on the Superior Hiking Trail. Which shows you how big of an area this actually is. So the Superior Hiking Trail then crosses crosses Mission Creek and heads on up into the uplands there and over to J. Cook Park. That's a nice, well, that's a very steep walk, let's put it that way. And that trail is not in great shape, at least it wasn't the last time I checked. So all those cars in the parking lot, still haven't seen anybody. The number of people that could have been in those cars could just get absorbed by an area this large. Normally this area where we're standing right now, this area is where you actually see people because different trails come together here. It's a bit of a gathering area. So I'm always, if I'm going to see somebody, I'm expecting it to be right in this area here. You can see, looks like the snowmobile trail heading off there. That goes on out toward Fond du Lac, but walking to Fond du Lac via that route, you have to cross the creek many times, and there's not rocks to skip across on, so you're gonna have to do some wading. I highly recommend doing that route in the winter when you can just walk on the ice, because summertime, I did it with my boys in the spring once. We thought the crossings would be frozen, but they weren't. So we were wading through that icy water. I had thought, okay, in my memory, there was only 2 or 3 crossings. But in reality, that day, we discovered there were many more crossings than that. So we ended up having to leave the river, climb up those collapsing clay banks into the uplands, and find the Superior Hiking Trail. That was what I would call an adventure, but my boys weren't too thrilled. Oh, okay, this is a Superior Hiking Trail right here. So I'm not sure what that other one coming down was. Yeah, so Superior Hiking Trail right here. And looks like it follows the grade for a short distance, and then it'll cross up here. Here's another bridge. So I've counted six old bridges, and then 2 more spots that look like they probably had bridges. But the literature says there was only 7 on this stretch, so I don't know. That's picturesque. Looking down Mission Creek as it flows toward Fond du Lac. Nice. This is probably the biggest of these bridges. Yeah, there's the Spear Hiking Trail off that way. Man, somebody's been busy. Look at that. Look at that. This tree's alive too. Probably not for long. Some serious damage. Look at that. Must have been a few bugs in there. Oh, that's a beautiful bridge. You can tell all the work that went into that. Oh, look at that. Ruins of an old culvert down there. So this was not originally a bridge. It was a culvert and a grade across the channel. Alright, now we are leaving Mission Creek behind. It will be, Mission Creek flows off that way toward Fond du Lac. And now we have a uphill grade up to Highway 210. Not super steep, but steady uphill. I see a biker up there. First person I've seen. Just jump over that. Wash out here. More bikers up ahead. Hi. I like how trees fall But then they still leaf out in the spring. Still enough sugars and stuff stored inside them to push the leaves out. And we have reached Highway 210. As you can see, nothing in particular to mark this on this end. You just have to know. So there you go. Park number 1, the Frederick Rodney Paine Nature Preserve. Thanks for watching.